How's it going, guys? This is Rio Murata, photographer based in Tokyo. I recently picked up a message from my parents saying that they have like purchased a pet, but there's one condition. I said, what is this one condition? That I have to look after it when my parents are away, when they are on a trip. And I said, okay, but it feels like as if I'm like letting in a stranger into my room, and I've never seen this pet with my 2 to 4 eyes. And I said, okay. But my parents said, and on top of that, that this hamster that they have purchased like has this tendency to bite whatever it sees, fingers included. And I said, you have to be kidding me. So I had to like check this new pet that my parents actually purchased, and it's not, and it seems like my parents have said that they are feeding it using a ladle, and I said that's not a great way to educate a hamster. But and it's a coincidence because at the same time I have purchased an Instax camera, an Instax Mini 70 actually, and I was basically browsing through what you call a Craigslist type of site. In Japan we have something called Mercari, which is similar to Craigslist. It's where people peer-to-peer sell and buy things from other people. It's mostly used stuff, old stuff. It could be clothing and stuff like that. And one person was basically selling an Instax Mini 70, which is basically discontinued right now, for roughly less than half the price actually. And I was able to grab one for roughly $30 to $40, if I'm right. And I never purchased an Instax camera in my life, and I never shot with one, those Polaroid type of like instant cameras. So it seemed like an interesting like camera to like bring to the journey to back home. So yeah, I'm like new to Instax. I'm not a professional, and I can't give my overall verdict of what an Instax is or my like overall opinion on it. But I can say that from looking at the Fujifilm website that they tend to basically discontinue an Instax camera every 2 years or maybe 3 years at most. And if you're like interested in getting an Instax camera, it's highly possible that they are going to be discontinued, especially the one that I purchased, the Instax Mini 70. It's like it got discontinued, and you can't purchase it new. You can only purchase it used. So, and they keep like rotating and having new products down the line while like discontinuing the older lines. And as of 2021, Fujifilm has like 6 Instax camera that's being sold, which is like the hybrid Instax Mini Evo, which you can basically view the images before you can like print them out, and you can do all sorts of filter customization and also connect via Bluetooth. That's like a digital camera. And they also have the Mini 90, the more expensive $100 type of Instax camera, and the cheaper alternative. I guess this was the one that replaced the Instax Mini 70 that I purchased, the Mini 40, and also the Mini 11, which is like an entry-level camera, and the Hello Kitty what is this kind of camera. And also, not to mention the Instax Square SQ1, which is basically the only camera that can shoot square orientation format, similar to like an Hasselblad 6x6. So that's like kind of neat. And I personally thought like shelling $100 for an Instax was insane. So to get my feet wet, I just went ahead and got the cheapest one that was on sale on a sort of like a Craigslist type of site, which was the Instax Mini 70. Instax 70 is basically probably one of the easiest cameras to operate. You just basically install the batteries. It uses a CR2 batteries, especially the Instax 70 series uses those CR2 batteries, which are relatively easy to find online. And you just basically stick in the film canister, the Instax Mini film, and it's basically in a sort of like a plastic like case, and you just basically align the yellow dots. And after you install the film, you just basically close the lid and turn on the on and off button, and just press the shutter just once, and it spits out this like what we call plastic, what we call film. It's like a Polaroid. It basically removes the first like what you call slide before you shoot the the film negative, not the film negative, but the film itself. And the Instax Mini series type of cameras basically only can shoot like 10 exposures, so it's like similar to shooting with a 6x7 camera that shoots 10 exposures. And keep in mind that Instax cameras, my parents did also purchase Instax camera, that they did not know that film is perishable, meaning that they will degrade over time. So it is wise when you basically open that, film, or what you call, press the first like shutter and remove that, the lid coming out and stuff like that. It's better if you can like shoot all those 10 exposures within that day, because when days pass, film loses like that sensitivity to light and basically kind of degrades the overall quality of the images. So it's important to keep in mind that once you basically start shooting, it's better if you can like shoot all those exposures within that day. If not, I mean, you might get a crappier photo along the way. So that's my sort of like overview. And the Instax Mini 70, especially when I first got it, it only had like 5 functions. It had a flash function, a non-flash function, landscape mode, and macro mode, along with a timer mode, which actually works in my mind. So if you're coming from shooting with like a 35mm or maybe like a medium format, you will be 100% of people will be discouraged. I was discouraged when I shot my first shot because it did not have that much of a resolution, and at the same time it's not sharp and it's not like pretty at all in my eyes and personally. But that's not the important thing about Instax camera. The importance of like shooting with an Instax camera is basically you're just trying to save those precious memories that you see in front of your eyes, and compared to like shooting with digital, which basically saves onto a digital device, you can basically print this after you press a shutter like a Polaroid. So it has this sort of like a different meaning in terms of photography, and it's like interesting to like use this type of camera, and it was a great experience like using with it. So being 2 boxes of like Instax and not doing a rigorous test or anything, this is like something I realized after shooting with an Instax camera, that they perform really, really bad when shooting against the sun. So when it's like backlit, and you guys know, like when you shoot backlit like subjects, you're basically, when you have to like sort of like overexpose by like a couple of stops to sort of like reveal that shadow details. But a Polaroid is basically a Polaroid, meaning that it's automatic and the camera thinks it's like really bright, so it kind of shuts, I guess, closes down that aperture and stuff like that. So the images look really black, especially when it's like backlight. So it's like something to like avoid if you're in that scenario, like when you're trying to shoot something but the sun's like right in front of you on top, or somewhere in front of you, like bright high. I mean, try to like move yourself maybe like a 45-degree angle or so, and you will get a better image compared to like shooting it backlit, because that's gonna, in most 100% of the time when I shot, it kind of ruined the photos. So that's like one of the things to like mention. And also, this is like my personal like what we call overall view of shooting with an Instax, but it seems to me that like it kind of struggles a lot, especially in the indoors scene, because you guys know indoor is dark and there's not much light, and you can't bump up the ISO. You're stuck with one fixed ISO on your film negative. So it's best if you can shoot this outside in bright sunny condition. And I guess that's like some of the things I realized after shooting with the Instax. Not much to say, honestly. And like I said, there's not much like details, sharpness, and resolution when shooting with an Instax camera, so don't have like high expectations. So although I only tried like basically 2 boxes of film, it's like kind of quite neat to see something like this like flying around, because there was a time when these like what we call Polaroids type of like film was about to get extinct, but thanks to, I guess, the booming people who wanted to have the experience with shooting with film, like it's making a comeback, and Fujifilm is probably making so much money out of the Instax series of camera. And along with that, I guess Polaroid is also bandwagoning with Fujifilm, and I thought they went bankrupt, but they're coming back to life. So there's a lot of alternatives in shooting with Instax type of cameras. I mean, back in the days, if I'm right, were only a couple, but now there's like tens, maybe 20s of like these what we call instant type of Polaroids cameras being released every year or so. So it's a quite like interesting to see something like this pop out once in a while. And at the same time, it was a great experience like shooting with a Polaroid type of film. Obviously, like I said, the quality isn't the best, so I wouldn't have high expectation if you're wanting to like try this out. I mean, you will get discouraged, honestly. So yeah. So I hope you enjoy this video. If you find it informing, or if you have like any questions, please leave it in the comments section below. I am like happy to reply. So yeah, please stay safe, stay sharp, and also shoot a lot, and we'll see you next time. Peace.